Welcome back to the Holy Shiftball podcast, the show where we challenge everything you've been taught about your mind, your energy, and your reality. One cosmic giggle at a time. I'm Bethany, your energetic bestie, alongside my fabulous soul sister, Sharon. Hey, Sharon.
Hey, guys. How are you?
I am so looking forward to this conversation with these two powerhouse women we're going to have today.
Incredible. We are so blessed and lucky to have them. This is amazing.
Yes, girl. We are not waiting for permission. Let's jump right in. You ready?
Absolutely. Ready to go.
All right. So, Marlene Sharp, girl. Marlene is an Los Angeles-based producer, writer, and story editor, and the founder of the Pink Poodle Productions. She's worked across major projects in animation and entertainment, including the Sonic Boom and the Sonic Hedgehog film, and is currently producing writing on MONGLY. Did I say that right? Syndrome. K-pop odd couple. And what I love most is Marlene is actively creating opportunities for neurodivergent talent. Yes, not just talking about it, she's creating it.
Walking the walk. And
Yes.
Today we're also joined by Judi Uttal, a dynamic divergent community advocate who is not just talking about inclusion and entertainment, she's actively rewriting the script. She's the founder of Autism and Entertainment, which is creating real pathways for the neurodivergent talent to step into the spotlight. From major conferences to industry-changing initiatives that are opening doors where there used to be walls. Judi brings both strategic expertise and heartfelt purpose to her work, as having the lived experience of being the mother of a son who was diagnosed with high-functioning autism at the age of 3. But true testament to Judi and her work, her son graduated from California State University with a major in cinema and television. Ooh. All right. And together, these ladies are heading up 2 amazing events that bring awareness to the neurodivergent community. The first is an autism event fundraiser at the Upstairs Community Comedy Club in Los Angeles on March 29th, as well as a comedy festival called Netflix is a Joke, Laugh on the Spectrum. And that's being held on May the 4th in Los Angeles. So without any further ado, let's bring on Marlene and Judi.
Welcome, ladies.
Thank you. What a
Thank
high
you.
energy, enthusiastic trends. Oh, and Judy's ready for you. We have props.
Yes, girl.
Awesome.
Well,
Thank you.
let's just get straight into all of this juice. So, what happened in your life that made this personal? What you've created? What shifted for something, for someone or something you cared about? How did this all come about? Tell me everything.
Yes, we want to know.
Judi,
All right. I'll
take it
start.
away.
Okay. I ended up having a journey where it was started by just an idea while driving my son to a program for teaching social skills. And I realized that they wanted him to join clubs, and I was starting up a Toastmasters club, and I said, what about Toastmasters and autism? And that somehow sitting in LA traffic is where the idea happened. And
Oh man.
and that it's like getting on a horse and you just go where the horse leads you. And I then became part of Autism Society Orange County. I ended up running that for 10 years. And my background is high-tech marketing. And as a marketing person, the first thing I do is do a survey. And I found that the top issue for our members was employment. And it even beat out relationships just by one vote. but employment was a top issue, and it's no wonder because about 80% of people on the spectrum are either unemployed or underemployed. So I focused on employment and focused on careers. And it became clear to me that my son was going to college, a lot of my friends' kids were going to college, but that a lot of the job development wasn't about careers where they had studied and their passion. It was like, let's get them a job at McDonald's, let's get them a job at the grocery store.
Yeah.
And some of the folks called those high school jobs. And so I started trying to focus on the professional jobs. And as my son graduated from Cal State Fullerton in television and film, I initially was under the impression, there will be doors opening to him because at that time diversity was an important initiative. And I realized that diversity was not neurodiversity, and that all the doors that were opening for diversity were not opening for the people on the spectrum. And I said, given my background in technology, I had been part of a structure called a work group. And the idea of a work group is a lot of times technology companies are competing with each other and they don't work together. But they do when there's a new technology, when there needs to be a new standard. And then they form a work group and that brings competitors together. And I thought there were other organizations focused on autism and entertainment. Why not start a work group where we can all work together about changing the world, about collaborating? And one day, I started talking to people about it, socializing this idea. And one day I went into one of my virtual support meeting for other parents, and a parent introduced herself and she said, "My name's Patricia Turney. I have a son on the spectrum and I am the chair of Exceptional Minds." And I said, "Oh my God, it's a lot like Castaway, where the potty shows up to be the sail. And you just don't know when that opportunity is going to arrive." And I said, "Oh my God, this is the person I've been destined to." And so that was kind of the initiative to start Autism in Entertainment. And I just started collecting people that were in the entertainment field and had kids on the spectrum, or some relationship between those two. And before I knew it, I had about a dozen of those people. And in May of 2022, we got started. And we ended up, or maybe it was 2023, excuse me. And then we ended up getting a grant to put on a conference. And that validated everything. So that's how it happened. It was like a couple ideas sitting in traffic jams, and marvelous people showing up at just the right time, which was, how Marlene and I met, was one of those opportunistic things where I met the right person at the right time.
Go ahead, Sharon.
Oh, sorry. I was going to ask Marlene what her moment was that got her going down this path, and then, unless you want to ask questions to Judi first and then switch over to Marlene.
No, you should hear Marlene's story.
Okay.
Mine is very different, except for when it crosses with Judi's. Then it becomes similar or parallel. But so I have had a long career in the entertainment business. A lot of it working with international companies that have a presence in the United States, and a lot of them wanting to break into the American market, but not certain how to do so. And then a lot of these companies specialize in merchandise-driven entertainment. So I've worked with a number of Japanese companies that have intellectual properties such as anime and manga that they would like to westernize a bit and export to the rest of the world. So Bethany had mentioned Sonic the Hedgehog. Yes, Sonic is a previous boss of mine.
Yeah.
And I've also worked on Power Rangers and Digimon and
Wow.
Pink Panther and a number of well-known brands, some of them from the US, but a lot from overseas. And so a lot of the merchandise-driven IPs that I've worked on have merchandise and toys and then animation also to go with that as a tool to sell the merchandise. And so I came into the autism community through animation. And so I don't have any family members on the spectrum. I am not diagnosed, although I've learned a lot about myself in my journey, and I suspect that there's something going on there, but not officially so. And it was during COVID, and a friend of mine from the animation community, she started working at a school called the Center for Learning Unlimited, and she was teaching life drawing and animation software for a new program based on Exceptional Minds that Judi just mentioned. But this was a new program at the Center for Learning Unlimited. And so it was during COVID, and their program had been thrown into disarray because of it was an in-person program. It was all adults on the spectrum. They were accustomed to working in a group together. And then during COVID, it all changed to being at home study. So they were about a year from graduating their first class of this 3-year program. And there was a panic that went through the school. And so my friend contacted me and she said, would you talk to the administration and just tell them everything will be all right? And there will be plenty of jobs in animation for everybody once the pandemic's over. And I said, well, I could do that, but I'd probably be making up stories because I don't know anything about the autism population. And maybe I even know less about animation because it changes every day. Every day there's new technology. There are new players in the field. There's new trends to keep in mind. And but what I can do is pretty much talk to anybody. So that I will do that for you. And so I talked to her bosses, and it led to a series of conversations. And then they asked me to be a consultant for the program. So I was their first ever entertainment industry liaison. And I pretty much did whatever I wanted because they'd never had one before. They weren't really sure. None of us were really sure what we were doing, but they were so great in letting me experiment. And I brought in, from the get-go, I brought in a lot of guest speakers. We would do every Friday on Zoom. I would bring some other friend or colleague of mine from the industry to talk to these folks because they really had been isolated. They had only been working in their insulated group, and they wanted to know more about the business. And they all thought that they wanted to work at Disney or Pixar, but they didn't really know what that meant. And there was so much more that you could explore in a career in entertainment or animation. So brought in a lot of guest speakers. We started doing group projects and so forth. And then we opened a studio for the graduates. So when the first class graduated, they were able to go straight into supported employment. So they would get paid for a couple of hours of work per day. And it was through a program enabled by the state of California and the Harbor Regional Center, which is a local, I don't even know what you would call the regional centers, Judi.
What are some of these jobs? What are they doing?
Yeah, that's a good question. So when I was involved with starting Brainstorm Productions, we set it up like a regular animation studio. So what would happen would be I would go out into the community and look for work for hire projects to bring back to the studio that our team could work on. And we had a division of labor based on people's skills. So I had to do a lot of skills assessment and really because the types of projects, it was a matter of matching projects with the talent that we had. And not everybody was good at every aspect of some people were really good at voice acting or music, composing music. Some were good at designing characters. Some were good with making the animation move, like using the software and things like that. So so I had to go out and find people who wanted to pay us to do projects that matched our skill set. And so it was a divide and conquer kind of a thing. So everybody had a different role, storyboards or post-production, sound record, all these different things. And then we ended up in the beginning, and I think this is still part of the mandate there, because I don't work so closely with Brainstorm anymore. I work with other autism nonprofits, but we worked with a lot of children's book authors, a lot of independent children's book authors. This seemed to be a very good fit because the budgets weren't that big, but then there weren't a lot of deliverables that were expected. Mostly it was independent authors who'd maybe done a little bit of work on a children's book and they needed some more help with illustrations, and then maybe a little bit of animation, like a book trailer type of thing. And so one of our big success stories early on was a book about a cat, Willow's Tail, a black cat. And we did 2 short films based on Willow, and then we ended up illustrating a number of the books. And we went to CatCon and we helped the author to promote at CatCon, which, if you're not familiar with CatCon,
Oh,
is
okay. No.
magnificent. Even if you're not a cat lover, you will become a cat lover after going
Marlene,
to CatCon.
how would you say these amazing, I mean, talented beings, how are they feeling coming off of these jobs and, getting to be, a storyteller, an artiste? I mean, how is that? What are they feeling? Put me there in their emotions, in their field, in their realm.
Well, for the most part, they like it. But it's funny because, we are in Hollywood here,
Right.
and these folks are on the spectrum, but they are pretty savvy. I would say they're savvier than people who don't live in and around LA, in that they know people, neighbors, friends, parents, and all who work in the business. And so they're a little bit more cynical than somebody who's in middle America. So they didn't like every project that I brought in. And it got to a point where it was, Marlene, too many cat projects, because we became the go-to studio for cat stuff, especially independent authors who had books about cats, who wanted to make book trailers and so forth. So so at a certain point I was told, don't bring in any more cat projects. I mean, that, like, our artists were not just going to take anything. Like, they had graduated from cat projects, is what they were telling me, and they wanted to do other things.
Right.
So yeah, it became challenging to find the right balance between the potential clients and their budgets, and then the folks that we had in our studio, because we were also always graduating a new class every year.
Yeah.
So we'd have new people coming into the studio, and then the ones who started out in the studio would get better through the years, and so then they'd want to do more sophisticated things. So actually, that studio has shifted its model. There's not really a focus on the work for hire so much anymore. They are more about creating originals and putting them in film festivals, and which we did a bit of that when I was there, but they've managed to get some generous subsidies through a variety of different sources, and so they don't need the client work as much anymore.
Excellent. That's wonderful. That's
Yeah,
a
so great for them.
fantastic organization that you created or started. Excellent.
Thank
So,
you.
Judi, can you tell me, or tell our audience, what is the most misunderstood thing about hiring a neurodivergent employee?
that they won't be good employees. I think that, I grew up working in technology, and I'm used to HR being, in a sense, a barrier
Okay.
to hiring different. And
Mhm.
that's just what it says, is hire different.
Yes.
And they
Love it.
look at it as a risk, that if they hire different instead of a bunch of people that are the same, that they will introduce risk to the environment, and
Mm.
that these people will be problematic, and who knows. Okay, that's what's misunderstood.
Judi,
What we've learned is that these are great employees.
yes.
One, they're so creative, and a
Mhm.
lot of times in this sequel quicksand that Hollywood is falling into, they lack that creativity.
Hmm.
And these are people that are super creative. And what we've learned is that Hollywood is already hiring different. They just
Mm.
don't know it. That there are
Oh.
a lot of the famous directors, a lot of the um, animators, music composers, they're all on the spectrum.
Mm.
They may not know they're on the spectrum,
But
or
we
they
do.
may not have told people
You
they're on the
recognize it.
but it's a secret that they're all aware of. They'll say, "Oh, that guy's on the spectrum. That guy's on the spectrum." Part of this,
I'm on the spectrum.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I don't know how you discovered it, Bethany. I mean, that
It
would
was
be
I was at a very I was in the third grade. I was 8 years old,
okay.
and the teachers alerted my parents that they thought I had a learning disability and attention deficit (ADD), and so they took me to a psychiatrist at a very
Yes.
young age. And so Judi, could you, if our audience is not has not don't have the awareness around neurodivergent, what is neurodivergent?
So neurodivergent is, I guess, clinically when this person is off the norm, okay? And there's certain labels that there's different types of neurodiversity. It could
Hmm.
be ADHD, where they're hyperactive and they're thinking about all sorts of different things.
That's
Or,
me.
or it could, and some of them are multiple of these. So autism, typically the way that presents is maybe being a little bit reclusive, but there's also people on the spectrum that are very, very verbose and have these passions for their area of expertise. So it presents itself, as being different from the
Hmm.
typical
It's my
normal
superpower.
behavior. Yes. And that exactly,
It's my superpower.
exactly. That's what our conference, one of the themes that really emerged. And we knew we wanted it to emerge, but it's just every single presentation had certain elements.
Mhm.
And one of them was exactly that, Bethany, that being on the spectrum was a superpower.
It is.
And it was a superpower because they may have a passion or skill set in an area that is just beyond the norm,
Hmm.
in terms of, as an artist, or in terms of my son's ability to remember everything he sees. There's that. So another theme of that conference was that, I don't know about you, Bethany, but a lot of the people on the spectrum have very high anxiety level. They get stressed out, and it's because they want to do things perfect, and so they're fearful that they're not going to do things perfect, and they react to that. That maybe they react by not doing anything, or they may just freak out. uh, so what the theme of that, many of the people who had been successful is not to fear failure.
Yes.
And that was a key thing that I think you need in order to get beyond the diagnosis and have a career, is you need to be able to take chances and to put yourself out there.
And failure isn't failure, it's just feedback, right?
It's
not
exactly, and
feedback.
it's part of the, you learn more from failure than you do from success.
Absolutely. Marlene, speaking of success and failure, now that you're dealing with having a neurodivergent people hired, are you finding more doors are opening? Are people becoming more receptive to it? Or is there still a barrier there where people are hesitant? Like, do you have, since you've been doing this for the last number of years, are you making greater headway and finding more opportunities available?
There are more opportunities. Although this is a particularly challenging time in Hollywood, even for neurotypical people. So any kind of resistance that I have experienced is across the board, neurotypical and neurodivergent. It's just we're not hiring. We're looking for where our money and our next opportunity is coming from. So there's been a lot of consolidation in Hollywood, mergers and acquisitions, and then the big players are crying poor mouth and shrinking. And when that happens, even if the smaller players are doing okay, they will follow suit because it's like, oh, the sky is falling, the sky is falling. So generally, I've had a positive reception when I also represent 12 actors who are all on the spectrum, and I submit them for film and TV roles, and oftentimes they will audition for neurotypical roles. So it just so happens that they're on the spectrum, and that's the way I market them to give them an edge. Actually, I position that as an edge, and they've done quite well. But it's just the numbers of roles for everybody is shrinking, or seems to be, and this is just an unusual period of transition, and so yeah, but it's never been, hey, jobs for everybody in Hollywood. It's always been competitive. I've been in this business for a long time, and I never felt like, ooh, I can just kick back and rest on my laurels. No. And even celebrities, you would be surprised. Some of the big name people who are quite paranoid, even in the best of times, that people will forget about them or they'll become irrelevant. And so anyway, but yeah, I think the climate is improving for folks on the spectrum.
I think that there have been success metrics showing that we're making progress. Okay. Are we there? No. But I'm going to point out that Marlene is the co-leader of an affinity group for the Television Academy on diversity, accessibility, and disability, accessibility, and neurodiversity. And that's amazing that they chose to have an affinity group on that. That's like a recognition that didn't exist. That was the type of thing we wanted to happen. More and more scripts are being written and animated series are coming out featuring individuals on the spectrum. There was Call the Collector on PBS. It's a series that has a main, two characters that are on the spectrum. And they're recruiting people to play people on the spectrum from people on the spectrum, which used to not, Dustin Hoffman played, Rain Man.
Right.
Exactly.
Yes.
So that is changing. And so there's definitely change afoot. Marlene's right. When we got started planning our conference, we were dealing with the writer's strike and the actor's strike, and now we've got AI, and I mean, there's all these, we had COVID, and we have so many things working against us.
Barriers to success.
Right.
I feel that our mission resonates with people.
Yes.
And that it's creating change, and so I feel that it's making a difference, but I don't think we're there. I think those HR people that I talked about, I think they still have that bias. And so when you see an internship at Disney, they're not thinking, hey, 1 in 31 people are on the spectrum. Let's have at least 1 of 31 of our interns be somebody on the
Right.
spectrum. Those organizations aren't necessarily mindful of that.
What is it? Tell me a little bit about your fundraiser y'all have coming up.
Oh,
Which
man.
one?
Yeah, tell
Marlene,
me
you
all
should
about
come
it.
to
How
one
can
of the
our audience
29.
get follow, help, be a part of? How? Yeah, tell us all about it.
Judy, do you want me to do it, or do you want to?
Oh,
Or
Laughs on
you
the
wanna do it,
spectrum, is that
Marlene?
right?
That's the one in
yeah,
May.
we have
one
two.
this
So
Sunday.
actually,
We have one this Sunday, and you need to be pushing that. That's
yes, this
are on
March
sale now.
29th. Yep.
Yes.
Go for it, Marlene.
yes, and it's in Los Angeles. So please, A, come to Los Angeles. B, buy your ticket and come to the Sunday, March 29th. The Upstairs Comedy Club is a newer club, but very, very prestigious. It's a club that opened up last summer with Dave Chappelle. So
Nice.
it's the
Wow.
finest comedians in the world perform there, and they have given us this opportunity to hold our fundraiser, which our fundraiser will involve stand-up comedy as well as music. And so it's has more of a feel of a variety show. And yeah, we've got an all-star cast, and most important, people on the spectrum are performing along with people who are neurotypical. So Craig Robinson is the big headliner, and you've definitely seen him on The Office or in the Hot Tub Time Machine movies and lots of other places. And he's a talented musician as well as a stand-up comedian. So he's the headliner. We've got some other name performers in there too, as well as performers from the various educational partners of Autism and Entertainment.
Amazing.
That's fantastic.
It's a great. Oh my God, the value. You're going to see some really great performance, and it's going to be inspirational, and the funds will help us do more good.
So
Tickets are it's
$50
Sunday,
each.
March 29th at 3 p.m. Tickets are $5.50.
$50.
$50.
Looks like $5.50 here. I was like, woo!
Deal.
Marlene, we can tell you if you use the promotion code AIE50, you can get 50% off. And
wow.
And so for $25, there's parking down the street, which is always a problem when you're going somewhere. So
I would imagine,
parking,
especially in LA,
but,
parking is a bonus.
And amazing, you will have a great time. You will. This is the second one that we've done.
Okay.
And you will have an amazing time. And then Marlene, you want to talk about the Netflix is a joke?
Yeah. So actually 2 years ago, we started producing these neurodivergent comedy nights at the Laugh Factory. And it happened due to a professional relationship that we have with a gentleman named Rob Kuttner, who is a writer, producer, and now we're business partners, he and I. But he is very well acquainted with the Laugh Factory through writing for their production company and so forth. And so he's the one who opened the door to the Laugh Factory through his relationship with Jamie Masada, the founder. So about 2 years ago, a year and a half or so, 2 years ago, we had our first neurodivergent comedy night, which Autism and Entertainment was a part of that. And then there have been a few since then where some of our educational partners have been involved. Spectrum Laboratory is one of them. So they had one show that was just for Spectrum Laboratory. And then we did Autism and Entertainment. We did another one last fall that was a benefit just for Autism and Entertainment. So anyway, so the cut to a few weeks ago, and the Laugh Factory is part of this big festival that Netflix puts on every year called Netflix is a Joke. And it's basically to promote the Netflix comedy department, their division. So Netflix does tons of stand-up specials and sitcoms and movies and things that are comedically focused. And so for the last 6 or 7 years, they take over the city of Los Angeles, and at all these different venues for a week, there's a week of special performances and all kinds of stuff. So the Laugh Factory is at the forefront of that comedy festival. And so Rob, being plugged in at the Laugh Factory because he works closely with them, he happened to be talking to Jamie Masada and asking about, hey, what's Laugh Factory doing for Netflix as a joke festival? And there was some time that was available, and Rob said, could Marlene and I have it to do something for autism? Could we have an autism focused or a neurodivergent focused show? So Jamie said yes. And so then I told Judi, and suddenly we're planning this big show that is now the opening show for the Netflix is a Joke comedy festival.
All right.
And
Yeah.
to point out a few things. One is there's another support group, Next for Autism, and every year they sponsor a huge comedy show called Night of Too Many Stars with people like Jon Stewart and Stephen Colbert.
Okay.
And they do it every year in New York, and that's their big fundraiser. Well, this year they're doing it at the Hollywood Bowl.
Nice.
And it is, and Netflix is a sponsor. So this Netflix as a Joke in May is leading towards this huge comedy event at the Hollywood Bowl. And also Marlene should explain how we've tied this all in with another Netflix show, Love on the Spectrum.
Oh yes, Love on the Spectrum.
Are y'all gonna have media? Y'all gonna have clips? Something?
Oh yeah.
Well,
yes.
we would like to have some of that clippage if y'all.
You will have some clippage, Bethany. You will have. Yes, and so Netflix, being a streaming platform, will be present, and they're not promising that every show in the festival will be covered on Netflix, but some of them will, and there will probably be compilations and montages and things like that. So we're hoping that we're in some of the official archival footage that comes out of that.
Fantastic.
Well,
but
looking forward to it.
Also, we have a number of cast members from the Netflix hit show Love on the Spectrum who are in our May 4th show.
Yes.
And it's a little bit siloed at Netflix. It's not, so this is specific. The festival is specifically to promote Netflix comedy. Netflix comedy doesn't necessarily talk with Netflix reality division and say, hey, how could we help you guys out?
Yeah.
But like Judi said, we connected the dots, and we have some very talented folks in our circle who are on the spectrum, who are on Love on the Spectrum, and who are good at comedy. So we have put them in our show. And the number one is Danny Bowman, who's really done so much for autism and entertainment. And she's one of the breakout stars of Love on the Spectrum, and also one of my talent management clients. I started her performing stand-up comedy just because she's so funny, and basically just pushed her on stage at the Laugh Factory, and she took to it like a duck to water.
Awesome.
So she will be the MC for our May 4th show at the Laugh Factory.
Well, we're looking forward to hearing all about the amazing events and
great job, ladies.
Yes. And
fantastic.
We have came to the part of the show that is absolutely our audience's and our favorite. It is called the Shit or Shit segment, where we throw out some questions, and you tell me if they are a shift. If it's yes, I'm having it. It feels expansive. Okay. Or if it's total shit and it's like, no, that's not right. No, I'm not gonna do that. All right, so I'll go with the first one. Okay, ladies, if it's safer for people to mask than to show up fully as themselves in entertainment? Is it shit or shift?
Shift.
Shift.
Can you give me a small explanation?
I think that being different is becoming cool.
It is. It is.
And that
Yes, I agree.
that people are proud to be who they are, and they're feeling more comfortable and connected in doing it.
Yep.
I think that they feel the masking has
Come off.
been recognized as just not something that's sustainable
Yes.
for these folks. They may think that they need to do it to be successful,
Right.
but I think it was Elaine Hall in our webinar last week was saying, you got to not mask.
Exactly.
Or, as an actor, you have to be your authentic self.
Yes.
So I definitely feel that it's shifting, but it
I
needs
agree.
more help. I think the shift is very important
Yes.
for people to self-actualize.
I
Yes.
agree. I totally agree with that.
100. Hard to do, though, especially in that setting. Hard to be your authentic self, right? Inclusion initiatives, meaningful change in the industry, or corporate checkbox energy? Shit or shift?
I think it's shifting. I think, one thing, I think the current changes in Washington, D.C. has created a bubble of confusion within corporate America about inclusion. And so that's creating a shift. I think that in people's hearts, they want to still be inclusive. So I think that is still going on. So I think it's become more than just a checkbox, because I think the idea of it being a checkbox has become almost dangerous for organizations. So I think it becomes more of an initiative of the creative community or the employer, the actual people making the hires, to be more inclusive. So it's definitely not the same as it was 3 years ago. So it's definitely shifting. Marlene, do you agree?
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
Awesome. All right. Opportunities for neurodivergent talent should be created and not waited for. Shit or shift?
Shift.
Shift. Yeah. Two big shifts.
Yeah.
Shifts up.
So one of the things, and Marlene's involved with my son on this, is we are encouraging people to create, and that you can't, especially with all that Marlene talked about of the dynamics that are going on in the entertainment space. You cannot, those same dynamics actually create opportunities for people to develop their own content and show them on streaming sites and build awareness. And so we encourage the talent that are part of Autism and Entertainment to create their own content, to create their own personality. And Marlene works with a number of people that she represents that are doing just that, because you can't wait for the employer to just come to your house and pick you up.
Yeah.
And that's even true for neurotypical people too. And not just the entertainment business either. It's this job climate really requires people to be creative in how they seek work, and also putting out examples of what they can do to make themselves easily findable by potential employers.
Yes.
Exactly. Creativity is what it comes down to. You have to be creative in the way you present yourself and the way you represent yourself and how you get your message out there.
I'm going to do a little plug of a creative.
Yes.
Hire
done
differently.
by an artist at Spec Labs named Amos Stillwell.
Beautiful.
And he's amazing. He's done a number of our flyers. And we're going to be giving these out to attendees of our comedy show this coming Sunday. So if you want
on March 29th,
hire a different fan developed by Amos Stillwell, I encourage you to to come on by.
That's March 29th at the Upstairs Comedy Club in LA.
That's right. One other quick plug.
Yeah.
So one of the things Marlene does is she coordinates studio tours. And we have our members go out on studio tours. So when was it, Marlene? Was this December you went to Kabillion?
Late November, early December, something like that.
So she went to Kabillion. Mike Young, the head of Kabillion Studios, gave us 60 or so of these action figures.
Nice.
So for people that donate money or join our organization at the show, they're going to get one of these 60 collectibles.
Fantastic. Now there is something that will entice people to join you. So inclusion initiatives. Nope, sorry. Barriers in the industry are coming down, or are the barriers just getting more subtle? Are they shifting the goal line, shift or ship?
I'd like to think that they're shifting, that it's becoming easier, at least for the autism community. I can't really speak to other groups of which I'm not a part. And although I do hear a lot working with the TV Academy, and there are certainly folks on the spectrum who have a number of different issues and belong to different groups. But I think the spirit is willing out there. I think people want, like Judi said, they want to be more inclusive. Sometimes it's just the state of the world. For example, in war-torn countries, they're just dealing with day-to-day survival. They're just hanging on by the seat of their pants. So sometimes life interrupts, and it's not feasible to serve groups that are deserving. But I think the spirit is there. The willingness is there.
Yes.
Marlene, I think it's shifting, but it's ever so slowly.
Yeah, and it's slow. It is slow.
Well, ladies, thank you so much. What is one thing that you can share with our listeners today that could shift their shit around autism and neurodivergence? No.
Well, I think you would be surprised at the people that are on the spectrum that you are impressed with their work.
Yes.
John Frizzell, who does all the music for a bunch of animated series, including King of the Hill and South Park and
Beavis and Butthead. Yeah.
He is on the spectrum and proud to be so. So I think you need to realize that you are already being entertained by the, as you call it, people with superpowers.
Ladies, if there is a person on the spectrum who's feeling alone, lost, what is a piece of advice that you could give them to help them turn their life around?
For me, it's joining support groups that are about helping you, and you will meet other people like yourself and not be lonely. Yeah. And I think the answer to being sad is finding people who you can connect with. It's being lonely. And so joining a support group is key to finding those other people like yourself.
Yes. Where can our audience connect with you two and learn more about your work? Do you have a website?
First, our website. Yes. Go to autismandentertainment.org, and everything that you would want to know is there in terms of our videos, our webinars, other events around the globe that are celebrating neurodiversity. That's the first thing. So go to www.autismandentertainment.org. That would be number one. Marlene?
Yes, do that. Do it.
Get to that website.
It's pretty easy. Yeah, just look at our website.
Okay.
And come on Sunday.
Sunday, March 29th in Los Angeles at the Upstairs Comedy Club. At what time? What time does it start?
3:00.
3.
3 o'clock.
p.m.
Tickets are $50 each or $25 if you have a code.
AIE 50.
AIE 50. There you have it, ladies.
Thank you so much.
Thank
for
you. This
coming.
was fun. We
Thank
had a
you.
great time.
Thank you
Yes.
so much.
Thanks, Bethany and Sharon.
Thanks, guys.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you for
All
joining us.
Amazing.
Wow.
What a lovely group of ladies. I mean, just powerhouse, and you can feel that they are on a mission to shift change everything around.
Autism community shit.
Yes.
And just pioneers. Like, they're not taking no for an answer.
No,
If a door closes, they find a way around it.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. We don't need you. We're going to come up with a new initiative. And I love that they said, okay, so now they're doing the comedy side of the Netflix is a
Yes.
joke series, but how do they connect to the everyday side of Netflix? So they found the love,
Yes.
the neurodivergent. Love is Autism, or I'm not sure what the show was called. I've forgotten. I'm sorry.
Well, it was Laugh on,
I
the
apologize, ladies.
Spectrum.
Love on the Spectrum. That's it. So
Or
now that
Laugh
they
on the Spectrum. It was amazing.
have connected those two sides of Netflix, so they're expanding the reach for their purpose. They're living their purpose through helping people on the spectrum, and amazing, absolutely
Well,
amazing.
one
We were
thing
so blessed to have them.
One thing about it, the power of a mother's love for her child,
Yes.
and you can feel it with them. So it is amazing. And I am here cheering them on every step of the way.
Me too.
So, you know what, Sharon, be sure to like, follow, and share, and drop a comment if this episode reached you. And Sharon, who do we have on the show for Thursday?
This Thursday we have Daniel Jackson. He has been surrounded by spirits his entire life.
Yes.
His communication in spirit, though, with spirit didn't bloom or didn't catch on until he was 50.
Yes.
Now he's an intuitive reader. He communicates with spirit, with angels, and notably the archangels. And Daniel feels that the messages he receives from the archangels are ultimately the word of God. So it's going to be the God Whisperer. We have the God Whisperer on the show this Thursday. So do tune in to see what messages Daniel has from the archangels for us, for you, for everyone.
Well, Sharon.
And one more time, let's plug the Marlene and Judy's upcoming events. So we have the fundraiser, the Autism event fundraiser at the Upstairs Comedy Club in Los Angeles this Sunday, 3 p.m. at the Upstairs Comedy Club, which is what I already said. And then on May the 4th, they have Netflix is a Joke, Laughs on the Spectrum series that begins on May 4th. So please check them both out. Go to LA and so show some support for the neurodivergent community.
All right. All right, girl.
You're up.
Well, Sharon.
Yes.
Remember, when life kicks you in the balls, be sure to tune in to your Holy Shiftball podcast.
Where we will help you turn that shit into a shift. Yes, we're going to take the shift to the guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.